scary because you don't see it on Malibu. It's a very safe neighborhood.
A man shot during a robbery on a Lexington street, and police think it could be connected to a string of other crimes overnight.
Legendary women's basketball coach Pat Summitt is being remembered tonight. We'll look at some of the connections she had to Kentucky.
The new Ark Encounter Park opens in a little more than a week, and today we received an early look at the attraction.
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Good evening. Authorities are releasing some new information about a terrorist attack in Turkey. They now say that 28 people have died in bombings at the airport in Istanbul.
It is the third busiest airport in Europe. The attack happened within the last few hours. Investigators are now blaming suicide bombers. Mark Albert has the breaking details.
Cameras caught what appears to be a suicide bomber detonating an explosive device inside Istanbul's busy Ataturk airport. Istanbul's governor says 3 attackers blew themselves up in a terror attack at the international terminal. He said at least 28 people are dead, dozens more hurt. The suspects reportedly opened fire, then detonated explosives near an airport security checkpoint. People ran from the terminal during the chaos following the blasts. Others crouched on the floor of the terminal. The Islamic State and Kurdish militants have taken responsibility for several attacks in Turkey in recent months. The attack comes during the holy month of Ramadan. Mark Albert for CBS News, Washington.
We want you to keep checking WKYT.com and the WKYT News app for updates on this story. The CBS Evening News will also have the very latest for you coming up at 6:30. People who live nearby say it's normally a quiet neighborhood, but this morning, Lexington police say a man was shot during a robbery.
It happened along Malibu Drive near Tates Creek Road. Police say that 3 men robbed the victim and one of them shot him. And now they're trying to figure out if this is all connected to a string of robberies at some Lexington businesses overnight. Hillary Thornton has the latest in our top story at 6.
As the traffic comes and goes along Malibu Drive, so do folks out and about.
Taking my dog for a walk. I do it every day, every morning.
However, the scene this morning, not a common one, as police cars filled the area around Lansdowne Apartments. Officers responding to a man who had been shot.
Scary because you don't see it on Malibu. It's a very safe neighborhood.
Police say that victim found with a gunshot wound told them he was walking just a couple of blocks away from where he lives here at the Lansdowne Apartments when he was approached by 3 men who stole his electronics, then shot him in the leg.
While early in the investigation, police acknowledging some similarities between this morning's incident and in the robbery and shooting of a man, reportedly by 3 men near the intersection of North Limestone and 7th Street early Sunday morning. Now, this morning's shooting coming within the same hour. Lexington police also working a rash of 3 business robberies.
It's really pitiful, though. You know, you person getting out here work every day, and next thing you know, people getting robbed.
The masked robbers hitting the speedway on Euclid Avenue, then another speedway at Winchester Road and 7th Street. Officers say the suspects finishing the trio of robberies by holding up the Waffle House on 8th and Boonesboro Road. Investigators now looking into the possibility all of this connected, saying descriptions of the robbers are similar to the ones given of the men believed responsible for the shooting this morning.
Hope to get caught and put them away for quite a while.
In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Police say they did find a cell phone and some money on a street next to one of the gas station robberies.
A Hall of Fame coach known as a trailblazer on and off the court is being remembered tonight. Longtime University of Tennessee women's coach Pat Summitt died this morning following a battle with early onset dementia. Our Jennifer Palumbo is at the live desk with how Summitt is being remembered here in Kentucky. Jennifer.
Amber, Pat Summitt was the head coach of the Lady Vols for 38 years, winning 8 national titles and 1,098 games. That's more wins than any Division I college basketball coach, men or women. Summitt started her career in Knoxville in 1974 at the age of 22, and several years later, she considered taking the women's job at the University of Kentucky. Current Kentucky coach Matthew Mitchell coached against Summitt. He also worked for her as a graduate assistant at Tennessee during the 1999-2000 season. We talked to Matthew Mitchell, who's in Spain right now. He has fond memories of Summitt and said she's one of the reasons he took a job as a Kentucky assistant under then-coach Mickey DeMoss.
She said that Kentucky was a sleeping giant, that she thought Kentucky could be a great program, and I never forgot that. And when I got a call from Mickey saying, hey, I've got the Kentucky job, I want you to come to Kentucky as my assistant, I remember Coach Summitt saying how great it could be, and I jumped at the chance, and I'm glad, because now, Kentucky's my home and my school, and I think we can be great.
President Obama awarded Pat Summitt the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2012, the same year she retired from coaching, and 1 year after announcing she had early onset dementia. At the live desk, Jennifer Palumbo, WKYT.
Jennifer, thank you. UK assistant coach Nia Butts played for Pat Summitt. You'll hear from her coming up in sports. New tonight, we have learned Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump will be in Lexington next month. Sources confirmed for us that Trump will speak at a private fundraising event on July 11th at the Aviation Museum of Kentucky. The invitation to the event says it will cost $1,000 per person to attend the reception and $5,400 per couple for a picture with Trump. This will be Trump's third trip to Kentucky this year. The first two times were in Louisville.
New tonight, state police are investigating what led to a shooting that injured a man in Wolfe County. It happened last night along Highway 191 near Campton. Police say someone fired a shotgun during a dispute, and 18-year-old Austin Hayes was hit. They say Hayes was taken to UK hospital where he was treated for a minor injury and later released. State police say they're handling the investigation. The cleanup continues in West Virginia tonight, days after deadly floods killed nearly 24 people. Today, West Virginia's governor asked for more counties to be added to a federal disaster declaration. Hundreds of people are still living in shelters after losing their homes. And some people from Kentucky are now in West Virginia doing what they can to help. Mike Linden explains.
It's been just a few days since devastating flooding swept through West Virginia. On Sunday, help from the Bluegrass State arrived.
So the Red Cross responds immediately. We set up shelters for those that need a place to stay. We begin doing mass care and feeding to all those who need that.
13 Red Cross staff members from Kentucky and more than 150 volunteers are in the Mountain State. They still have plenty of work to do.
Since the weekend, Red Cross employees have been handing out disaster kits to those affected by the flooding in West Virginia. Inside this kit, you'll find things such as cleaning supplies, a broom, a mop, really anything that you would need to clean your home, let alone after a disaster. Burkhart says this is just a small part of what the Red Cross is doing in the Mountain State.
Mud, a lot of mud.
Robin Renner is the director of disaster relief for the Christian Appalachian Project in Kentucky. When the flooding began, she and 15 others went straight to West Virginia to help.
They need help. It's just a neighborly, even though it's in another state. I would want the help if I was in the situation.
Renner says she's not coming home until the job is done.
We could be here for a while if they need us, and looks like the need is definitely here.
In Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
Now, West Virginia state leaders said today they're now offering tetanus shots for anyone exposed to floodwaters in the last week.
Some much more comfortable air is moving into the bluegrass, and it looks like the great weather will be sticking around. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early look at your forecast.
A little on the comfy side out there this evening. You're exactly right, Amber, and that comfy factor is going to increase big time into Wednesday and Thursday. Concentrate on the evening that is upon us, because you know what? It's pretty darn nice out there right now. We look at our live sky cam, a little more cloud cover than what we had over the last half hour. Right now in Lexington, still mid to upper 80s. Humidity's way down, courtesy of a northwesterly wind at around 9 miles per hour. That cooler, drier air is working in from north to south. It is now crossing the Ohio River. Look at that drop in temperatures on the other side of the river. 76 Dayton, Indy 75, 64 into sections of northern Indiana. We're not going to get that cool tomorrow with highs, but overall, the temperature trend is down. Any shower thunderstorm action so far along this front? Nope. Defender Radar Network is clear as we go through the next several hours. But again, that front has that cooler push of air coming in behind it. Now, when I come back in a few minutes, we'll focus on that new hour-by-hour forecast that includes the nice stuff, but also looking ahead toward your 4th of July weekend and the possibility of some thunderstorms.
An all-important forecast, Chris. Thank you. The Ark Encounter Park opens next week in Grant County, but today we received a sneak peek of the new attraction.
And the park, of course, includes a replica of Noah's Ark. Here's what it looks like from the air. Officer Don shooting this video from Sky First. Sean Moody took a look around the park this afternoon. He has the story new at 6.
The Ark's about a quarter-mile away down there. It's actually just phase 1 of the project. It's scheduled to open on July 7th. Workers are busy right now trying to get all the finishing touches done. Answers in Genesis founder Ken Ham says it'll be ready to go. It's a little different crew than Noah had. But Ken Ham says the Ark is built to the same specifications as the one the Bible says Noah built.
So this is 1.5 times the length of a football field, half the width of a football field.
The Ark Encounter's had a long road. There have been battles over tax incentives, debates over separation of church and state, controversy over a requirement that employees sign a statement of faith, but that's all been decided by the courts now. Ham is looking to the future. There's a lot left to do, but he says they'll be ready next Thursday.
So it's a very, very busy place, gearing up for the opening, and we expect multi-thousands of people, up to 2 million people a year.
Just up the road, people in Little Williamstown are curious to see what will change here.
It's already starting to open up some businesses, so they're already getting some open.
This general store across the street from the barber shop opened up a couple of months ago. They're banking on the Ark bringing a lot of business downtown. It's something people here say they could use.
In a small town like this, 400 jobs is a good deal.
Back out at the site, Ham says everyone will benefit from the flood to come.
So this is going to have a significant effect on the economy of this area, but even in Kentucky. This is going to bring people from all over the world.
And there are still job fairs happening. Ham says they plan to hire between 300 and 400 seasonal workers. In Grant County, Sean Moody, WKYT.
And the next job fair will be Thursday from 4 to 8 at the Crittenden Baptist Association on Main Street in Williamstown. Tonight, funeral services are being held for legendary bluegrass musician Ralph Stanley.
A Masonic service and funeral are getting underway right now in his hometown of McClure, Virginia, not far from the Kentucky border. Stanley died last week at the age of 89. He was a Grammy winner and a member of the Grand Ole Opry. Stanley's family encouraged his fans to attend tonight's funeral.
New tonight, Kentucky Attorney General Andy Beshear says his office has settled a lawsuit against Volkswagen. As we first told you last night at 11, the automaker has agreed to a more than $14 billion settlement in an emissions cheating scandal. Beshear says Volkswagen will pay the state of Kentucky more than $3 million in civil penalties, and he says nearly 3,200 Kentucky Volkswagen owners in the state will receive payments of at least $5,100 and either have their vehicles bought back or repaired.